Welcome to another episode of Amplifying Your Business, and I'm your host, Stephanie. And I'm really excited that social media brought us together. Like, Brandon, because I think this is a really awesome opportunity. You and I both kind of speak a similar conversation, and we want to break out of the entrepreneurial mold. Say, we want to see something different. We want you to understand that business, because you started your business, it is yours. So it doesn't have to be in a mold. But before we get too excited and too far into it, can you tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and kind of who you are?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I have this love-hate relationship with social media. Funny that you said that because I love that it allows me to have amazing conversations like this, but I hate using it for what it's designed to be used for. So it's always fantastic to connect and be on podcasts. I'm a podcast host as well. But yeah, excited to be here. My title, if you will, is our company is a fractional COO company. So we go in and we help busy business owners get out of their operations and get free from their business in 90 days or less. We have a number of ways that we go and do that, but the one thing we find is that most entrepreneurs are way too involved in running their businesses, and we want to get them their time freedom back. That's why you started a business in the first place, to have time freedom, financial freedom, to have no stress. And what do we get when we start a business? None of those. We get a lot of stress, no money, no time. So we help fix that in 90 days, and I'm excited to share that with your audience.
I'm so excited to hear this because I know that was something when I started, I was like, okay, I'm going to have freedom and I'm going to have more money and like we're going to get all these wonderful things. And it's less stressful than my 9 to 5. And then I'm like, 3 years in, and I was like, this is not working. It's not doing it. But it's a different approach, like you said. I love social media with the connection points that it can give me. I can't stand it for using it like other people do. I can't. I can't do it. So it's going to be, I'm really excited to hear your tips on really, truly like, how do we break out of that mold? How do we be different than what we're kind of, a lot of the other business coaches will tell us and have told me a million and one times, like, no, social media is the way to go, or you have to do it this way, or it's got to go that way. What are your thoughts on all of that moment of the push of social media, or you've got to do it one way or the other?
Yeah, I think if any one person says there's one way to do anything, and I'm talking like if there's any one way to maintain your lawn, they're a little foolish. And that's me being politically correct. I usually say something much meaner. But yeah, there's no one way to do anything. It's your way. It's what's going to be the best for you. We got to talking a little bit before the recording. You have kids, I have kids. If someone's going to tell me that the best way to grow a business is to work 80 hours a week, I'm going to say you're an idiot. Like, I have 3 kids. I want to spend time with them and my wife and my family. So there's no one way to do anything. It's what's going to be customized to best fit your lifestyle and your goals. Because if it's not getting you to where you want to be in the quickest amount of time possible with the least amount of effort, it's really just not right for you. So, social media is just one of those things. I never liked it. I grew my last business and sold it without ever using social media. And I just, I knew it wasn't for me. It didn't fit within my lifestyle. I'm one of those people that I could get sucked in and I could scroll all day. So I didn't want to put that in front of me because I knew where it would lead. I do use social media while growing this business, and I've tried everything. I've tried every tactic, I've tried every trend, and I've just decided it's still stupid for me. So I use it for a different approach. I do use it to reach out and connect with actual human beings like this, but to sit there and figure out what trend is going to get my business seen, it's not for me. We have other ways that we do marketing. We focus on building relationships. So it's kind of the long way around saying, stop listening to other people. Do what's right for you.
What do you think a key point that you said is relationships? Because we're forgetting that business is about relationships. We're so worried about the likes, the comments, the shares, the heart, the this, the that, the pretty picture, the whatever is hot right now, right? We're so worried about all of that that we forget that people are coming to you for a reason. They're coming to you, one, most likely because they have that connection with you, right? There's something that brings them in, that there's a connection there of some capacity, that they see themselves in you. Yeah, we're not tapping into that. And so it blows my mind that, like you said, relationships, it's about building them. Because if we can have the relation, word of mouth goes a lot farther than a few likes and I think comments do. You know, I have had the opportunity that I've gotten majority of my clients from word of mouth. Oh, you have to talk to Stephanie. She's that what you need. Here, talk to her, and this one needs this help, right? And we forget that just a great interaction with somebody can really change the momentum of your business in general. And so, what are your if you've got somebody who is overworking themselves, what are some of the first things that you're going to tell them? Be like, what do we need to look at first? If they're sitting there working 80 hours, trying to still be that parent, trying to run and do it, and they're just burning the wheel. We're not even just running it, we're burning it. What are some of those first things that you look at them and say to them first?
Yeah, that was me, first of all, a number of years ago in my last business. When I started that business, I got myself to that point, the working 80 hours a week and literally killing myself, like on the edge of clinical burnout. What ended up happening was I basically fell out of love with that business and started to hate it, really, which subconsciously then made me start to destroy it. So I had to get that back and then be able to regrow it and get it to the point where I could sell it and have it run without me. So the first thing we need to identify is in our architecture, our business operating system that is our proprietary system at What If. It's called the Harmonious Operating System. The first thing we do is address your company's navigation. So think about getting in a car, right? If you're going to go on a cross-country road trip, what is the first thing you do? Plug in the address to a GPS. How else would you get there, right? If it's assuming the first time you've ever been on this trip, you have to know where you're going. And most business owners don't. They think about the product. They think about maybe even their customer. They think about making money. They think about that time freedom, financial freedom, all that stuff, right? We don't think about the destination or the direction of where we're going. So that's always what we do. And I'm talking new business startups all the way up through the 8-figure businesses who are our clients. We have to understand and have a clear picture, the map of where we're going. So we want to sit down and get that really, really clear. And then everything else starts to fall in place. So what's involved in that is, what's your mission? What's your vision? What are your core values? And we use those 3 things as filters for nearly every single decision that happens within your company on a day-to-day basis. These are not like pretty words we put on the wall and then forget about like the Fortune 500 does. No, this is like living, breathing that are the essence of what your organization is, does, and stands for. And when we have that, then we can go and look at your calendar and say, what are you doing in these 80 hours? Because I'm sure most of it is a complete waste and has nothing to do with your company's navigation. So we establish that. We do a quick little time study if necessary, or we probably just say like, stop doing all of this. Let's design a new workflow. And we want to pick out what are like the 3 to 5 things that are going to get you the biggest lift in the shortest period of time, and ignore everything else. So we brought up social media. That's an easy one for a lot of people. It's like, oh, I'm posting 5 times a day on social media. Cool. How many clients are you getting from social media in a month? Well, 0, but I'm still posting 5 times a day. I'm like, stop it. It doesn't matter. You don't need to do that. So it's obvious to people on the outside, but it's usually not so obvious to us when we're in it and in the thick of it, because we've heard all the noise and the voices saying, no, you have to do this to grow your business. Figure out what's actually moving the needle and driving your business forward, getting it closer to that end destination.
Yes.
And do that stuff.
Yes. And I think that we hear like it drives me crazy because I was that person who was like, I'm posting 5 times a day and I'm doing all the things and I've made 100 reels and I've done all the things. And I was like, and I had to have the like hard heart with myself and be like, okay, but you're doing this for what? What is coming from this? Because if it's not anything that's going to bring me money, I'm wasting my time. Move on. And it was kind of like a hard thing to kind of like let that go and like be like, but are you sure? Like I had to talk myself into this. Like I had to fully commit and talk myself into the concept of like, I mean, I even tried to just the other day, not even gonna lie, tried to make one like make a reel and put it all together. And I sat there after like 30 minutes and I like practically wanted to throw my phone because I was like, I'm not, this doesn't feel right. It feels yucky. It's gross. I don't want this. Like it just, it felt forced. It didn't feel natural or authentic. Now, something like the podcast, that is natural and authentic to me. That is naturally gonna just happen. Conversations, events, things like that. I want to talk to you. I want to be in the same space as you. I want to have that conversation. Sitting behind a screen is just not me. But I think that we need to realize like you have to look at what are you doing in those 80 hours or 20 hours or whatever you're investing into your business. If it's not investing money back to you or coming back with a return, you're just wasting your time. And it's not going to be lucrative. And time is money. And we need to remember why we did this. Like you said, is that we've got to have the map. And if we forget where the destination is, it doesn't matter what we do along the way, we're never going to get there. And I've talked to many because a lot of my clients are moms. And they're like, I feel mom guilt or I feel spousal guilt because I've taken time for my business. And I was like, we're doing this wrong then. You got the wrong system because you're prioritizing the business over the reason why you started the business, which was to spend more time with them. And it's been a big aha moment. So you have any of those like big aha moments from any of your clients that is just like ones that you're just like, see, this can be a reality and you should try it too.
Yeah, it's a combination of like aha moments and also severe pushback moments. So it's funny, you said most of your clients are moms and women. Most of our clients are women too. And what we find is, I don't know, I heard somebody say that the new business model is the female business model, where you're prioritizing life and work happens at the same time. And it's about working less, not more. I didn't know it was a female business model that we were teaching. Maybe it is. But what I find is that even females push back on our business model because it's all about doing less. So when we go into our clients' companies and we say, however many hours a week you're working right now, we're going to cut that in half in 90 days. There's that, really, it's a psychological principle. It's loss aversion. What you were talking about, the letting go of social media. You have something, you don't want to let it go. Your brain says it's important. You just try to hold on to it and justify logically everything that you're feeling emotionally. So when we say you can't do, not that you can't, you should not be doing this if you want to actually make a difference in your company and get your time back, we have people push back all the time. Like, I had no idea that wasn't making a difference. Like, there's no revenue, there's no profit. It's actually costing a lot of money. And then they're like, okay, it feels good for a couple of weeks. And then they try to do it again. We say, no, you're not. Like, we cut that out for a reason. Why are you going backwards? Why are you backsliding? And it's this and then kind of like sheepishly crawling back to the way you were doing it before. So we actually recently started working exclusively with a partner of ours on every project we do. So we specialize in operations. They specialize in human beings. And you can't really grow a company without both of those things, even if it's just you and you're a solopreneur, but especially when you have a team, because that always happens. We start to specialize the ops or optimize the ops, and then the human being takes over. And that lizard brain, that loss aversion takes over. It's like, no, 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 but it feels so good to check things off of my to-do list. I don't care about your to-do list. Your to-do list is a drug. You need to stop doing drugs and you need to do the right things that are going to move your business forward. So we work together and figure out, all right, what is the workflow? What is the schedule of work? And what should your calendar look like for you as a human being to be in your optimal state and permanently avoid the conversation of burnout? So that's kind of how we tackle that conversation. It's optimize the business, but then make sure the human being stays on top of this and the business to really have that rocket fuel and move forward.
Yeah. Now this will be an interesting question because I know that I talk to a lot more millennials than I do any other generation. Do you feel that the way we were raised of you got to work hard, you got to work to get it, right? Like money doesn't come for free, all the things that we've been told as kids kind of playing or showing itself in those entrepreneurs really, really hard. And so that's why it is so hard to like, because I was looking at it and I looked at a lot of my clients, I was like, it's reprogramming this 5-year-olds mindset that we have to work to have fun. We have to do and we have to work hard to get anything because of the way that we were raised. And having to switch that mindset and actually take more of that Gen Z mindset of like, well, I need to work smarter, not harder. And looking at it that way, have you noticed that with like and your clients that like that generational gap is very present in the entrepreneurial world?
Yeah, us millennials are messed up in the head. That's, I think, easiest way to say that. We got a lot going on, a lot of reprogramming to do. Full transparency, a lot of our we have a couple of millennial clients, but we typically work in that 7 to 8 figure revenue range, and they tend to be that Gen X business owner. A lot of the management teams and leadership teams we work up with are made up of millennials. Not that we haven't seen this, but typically we're in that just one generation ahead. But what I find myself being a millennial, sounds like you are too, is it's not a whole reprogramming, it's just a shift in mindset to say, okay, work hard, get ahead is the programming, right? The default programming. If we can just shift that to say, whatever value you add is what you'll get paid for. I mean, that's what the marketplace is. However big of a problem you can solve or solution you can provide, you'll get paid proportionally. So that's how I tackle every problem, is how can I add the most value by add a second part to that question with the least amount of effort or in the least amount of time with the least amount of resources, whatever it is. You have to have that second part. I call it a complex question. One single question can be answered with a number of different ways. A complex question narrows your answers, but also narrows your focus to get the best outcome possible. Yeah, millennials, if we just shift that mindset from saying, do I really have to work hard? I don't even know if it's about working smarter, because that could promote, I hesitate to say lazy, but it could promote that more lazy or passive or kind of deserving mindset. Like, I'll just work 2 hours a day for my phone. There's a good lie on social media for you, and be a millionaire. But it's how much value can I add in the least amount of time for the least amount of money that someone will pay me for, and go and do that more. The other side of things is, I believe, millennials have this handout mentality, which is like, if I work, if I go to college, if I do this, if I do that, I deserve. I can't stand the word deserve. The word deserve, you need to lose from your vocabulary like yesterday. It really is about, if you can provide the most value or more value than somebody else, you'll get paid accordingly. There's no such thing as what you deserve in life. Nothing is ever promised or guaranteed. So between those two things, that's what I've seen in myself as the biggest sort of reprogramming, if you will. But it's that little tiny shift to just lose that word and shift that mindset a little bit, and you'll be surprised with the results you get on the back end.
That's incredible because I've never heard of it put that way. And it's a really awesome way to put it because it's about the value, right? We were so worried about, well, what do I get? But what does the person you're serving get? Like, if you're going to solve a problem and it's big enough, they'll pay you anything you want. Like, you name the price tag to go solve, they'll hand it over for you. It's just a matter of, are you going to step into that? Are you going to go and put the value there and not worry necessarily about maybe the dollar amount per se, or that, like, it's that shift is like, what value can I give, not what value do I get? And in shifting that kind of a concept, I actually reading a book called Give and Take. And it's all about a servant's mindset. So giving more than you expect to receive. And when we stand that as an entrepreneur, I think it's very different. When we bring that concept into our business, people want to be there. Yes, there's that borderline, and I understand that there's that borderline. We don't want to give more than too much, right? I know there's that fine line of giving too much and then not getting anything. We still have bills to pay, and I want you guys to keeping that mindset of give value, give actual value to somebody else, and they will pay you back for what you're doing is super important. Is there anything like other advice? It's somebody who is like, I really want to scale my business. I really want to take it to the next level. What kind of advice do you have for that person who's like, I'm all in. Just tell me what I need to do. What are you willing to share with them today?
Get out of the way.
Mm,
That's that's my biggest. Well, let me touch on what you just said too, because it kind of leads into that. Yes, you need to get paid. We have bills to pay. We are not going to argue that point, Stephanie. 100%. I do not believe that you should not get paid for your efforts, but you don't always get paid. It's not always value paycheck. You
yes.
have to just extend that time, not even the timeline, extend the equation, if you will, and say there might be like 4 steps in between adding value and getting paid. And I'll give you the perfect example of what just happened literally this morning before we started recording this. So I host a podcast, as I said, and I did that to build relationships and also get on social media. That was my way around like actually posting on social media. It was like, let me build a podcast where I can add value to other people, get them in front of an audience and help them build their own audience and not have to post on Instagram 4 times a day. So check the box on that one, right? So I did that. And I also said, how much value can I add from being on a podcast or hosting a podcast? I've been on a number of them myself, and I've noticed a couple of themes. Some will charge you to be on the podcast. Some will charge you for the media kits around posting and publicizing the post. And some require like just insane things that you have to do and hoops to jump through. Stephanie, just shout out for the listeners. Stephanie did not do those things. She's awesome. So we have a rock star here, and thank you for that. But I said, okay, how much can I do to actually like blow people's minds and say, this was free to be a guest on this show? And what ended up happening was I don't ask for anything. I never talk about a sale. It's not a lead magnet. It's nothing. It is adding value and getting me off of social media. So I checked my own selfish box. What happened was one of my guests, and this happens more frequently than not, said, this is not an ego stroke. So you are such an amazing host and you added so much value to my life. I have to make an introduction to someone who I think you would be an amazing partner for. So I ended up having that conversation this morning. And what will come of this partnership is basically the biggest problem that we had in our business is now solved immediately. We have an opportunity to serve enormous amount of businesses over the next 12 months as clients, and we did not have a way to manage them with software so they could be more hands-off and have a better handle on their business. We thought we had to do it ourselves. So this is kind of going back to that original point of where I said, get out of your own way. We thought we're gonna have to build software like to manage this. We're gonna have to become a SaaS company, not our wheelhouse, just full disclosure. Had a podcast, had an amazing guest, introduced me to somebody else. His product solves all of our problems. And because we were referred by my guest, they're willing to build a custom solution for us at a fraction of the price. And now we can serve all of our clients. There was like 8 steps in the middle of add value and get paid. But I understood that with patience and continuing to add value, that would come. It's not always that way, but
Right.
look for who can help you get to that end goal and help you along the map in your business, if you will. But just know that it is not you. It's never you. It's never going to be you. You can't be the only one to grow the business. You have to either build a team or build partnerships. It always comes down to human relationships. So get out of the way and find people to help you are the 2 biggest pieces of advice that if I knew that sooner, I would not have been working 80 hours a week 4 or 5 years ago.
Agreed. Agreed. Like I would sit there and just yes, all of those things because if I would have gotten out of my way, I probably wouldn't have struggled as hard. But I also, if I would have actually banked on the relationships and leaned into some of those relationships a little bit harder than I did, I think this my business would be well further along. Like it would just be leaps and bounds further than it is currently. Not that it's a bad thing. I had to go through those. I had to learn to do that. But my hope is now that we can share some form of don't do what we did, learn faster and less pain than we had to go through by doing that and encourage others to do the same is really touch those networks, really lean into who is around you. I had a friend who I met 2 years ago that it's just now that there's some version of a connection happening that is going to pay me out, right? Or provide a paycheck per se. But otherwise, it's more nearly just his network is massive. Mine is not nearly as massive, and he's willing to open up his network to me. So super. Let me help add value to where you need it, and I will be that person for you. And I'll help and I'll do, right? And so it's one of those things where I think we forget the power of our network. Your network is your net worth. And it's so, so true. Because you never know who is around you that has different skills and techniques and connections to somebody else that is just that you would just ask or say or help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just throw the word out there and somebody else will be able to help you. But after all of this amazing information, how do I get in touch with you to move further and forward and actually stop burning the wheels and actually make more money in less time and go through that transformation like you've talked about in 90 days? How do we get in touch with you to go forward with that?
Yeah, so we work with, like I said, predominantly 7, 8 figure revenue businesses. But our mission is really to create as many business owners and not operators as humanly possible. Our idea behind that is the lower end of the marketplace, if you will, the sub 7 figures, really sub $500,000 in revenue. There is so much false and lies, and they're trying to sell you everything. Not a totally blanket statement, but I've seen that be more true than false. And we wanted to give everybody possible a resource to actually grow your business to that 500,000 and 7 figure and beyond mark. Become a business owner. If you can't take 2 to 3 weeks off from your business and have no contact with it without it declining in revenue or profit, you're not a business owner yet. So I'm sorry to be the one to break it to you, but I have a path. I want to help you fix that. We have, if you go to our website, whatif.com/clarity, what you're going to find is we have a 3-part audio or video series you get to pick with my business partner, Sean. He's consulted with over a dozen Fortune 100 companies, the biggest companies in the world, and helped them go through this process to get their operations under control and get their time back. Because even at the big businesses, people are overworked and burnt out and looking for other jobs. So we have a framework that in 90 days, if you follow this process, when we help you, we guarantee that you get 2 weeks off per month or you don't pay us. We want to give you that framework absolutely for free. So whatif.com/clarity. 3-part framework. It'll also walk you through our diagnostic to tell you where the holes are in your business. And then you can go about putting that stuff back together and actually building a business that you want to have, not one that sucks all your time and energy and patience and resources from. So that would be my encouragement is go take us up on that resource. And if you have questions, I'm sure there's a way to contact me in the show notes down below. I would love to help you through understanding that process and getting out of your business as quickly as possible.
I am so excited for that. Like, you guys, if you don't take advantage of this, you've gone off the deep end and you're crazy. Because this is a tool and a resource that is so incredibly valuable. That is the reason we all start our businesses. Is I know that every business owner I've ever met has said, I want more time and freedom. I want to make more money and I want more time back. I don't want to have to worry about punching the 9 to 5. I know that's what my biggest dream is that I will bring my husband home and work less than 40 hours a week. And I want to do it all from home so that I can experience it all with him. And that I know that is a lot of other business owners. I know that is what a lot of others want and dream and wish of. And that's like pipe dreams and hopes and wonders. But it can become your reality. But are you willing to step forward and take the resources that are handed to you, and utilize them because they're here. And I'm super excited. So thank you so much again for being here, for being a guest with me, taking advantage of being here. It means the world that you're willing to come and chat and have the conversation and open up with my audience and with me. So thank you so much for being on. Listeners, go and follow along. Take on the resources, follow this podcast. Go and check out yours. What is your podcast name, by the way?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. First of all, don't follow me on social media for all the reasons we discussed already. Just go to that website. But it's called Harmonious at Lunch, and we are fun fact, top 1% podcast. Just because I added value and people started promoting it and downloading it and listening to it in less than 4 months, we got there. If nothing else, it's another testimonial to add more value than you take in the world. But yeah, Harmonious at Lunch on all platforms. We'd love to have you as a listener.
Go and follow, guys, because I know I will be adding that one to my Less Listens too. But make sure you're following both podcasts. Like we said, neither one of us is super fun on social media. We're just over them. But follow for all the fun and more episodes like this, and more amazing guests to come. So thank you so much, and we will talk soon.